You're here to debut a brand new song that is going to be coming out here fairly soon. Redneck Reservation.
Yes, I plan to release it on my YouTube page, probably sometime after this interview. As soon as it's up on the iTunes website for distribution, I will release it on my YouTube page so that people can view it for free and check it out and see if, they're interested in buying it or they want to share it with other people on their Facebook page and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And we'll also post that link on ours as well when it becomes available. Now, Kristen, before we talk about the song, we were chatting here before we started the interview that you grew up basically all over northern Alberta.
Yeah, that's right. And that's where a lot of the inspiration for the song actually comes from, because I lived in Wabasca for a while, the Desmarais Reserve, and then I also lived in Peerless Lake and Cadott Lake and North Tall Cree, and I learned a lot about the culture there and the people and just how much they really love music, and they introduced me to a lot of different genres and styles that I never would have thought I would have heard on an isolated reserve like that. So it was a really great experience. I learned a lot from those people.
Mm-hmm. And then you also get to meet a lot of wonderful folks in the community that you're able to connect with as well.
That's right, yeah. And then they carry your music, and they follow you because they remember you, and it's really great, yeah. Yeah,
it's always fascinating to find that little, I guess, gem out there, because there's a lot of great people out there that sing and should be singing.
That's right, yeah.
And you ended up picking up music yourself. You said the inspiration behind the new song is from a lot of the areas that you had lived. When did you really discover that talent of yours of being able to get out there and perform?
Well, my grandmother says that it was when I was actually a newborn baby, and she kind of said that she was taking me around and she was humming a tune to me, and she said that I actually picked up the tune and I started humming it back, which was something very revelational for her. So she says it was from the beginning. I say it was probably when I was when I was probably 13.
Yeah.
And I started doing talent shows and getting recognition and winning, and I kind of noticed that, hey, I really have something here. It's not just me in front of the mirror listening to tunes. That's when I started to kind of take it seriously.
That's as far as I got musically, was in front of the mirror. That was it.
With the old hairbrush?
That's right. Now, and your family, of course, also been very supportive in your choice here of being in music. But not just only music, you went to school as well and just finished university.
Yes, I started in 2009. I graduated from an outreach program. I left home when I was about 16 years old by choice, and then I went out in the world and I went to an outreach program so that I could work at the same time and obtain my high school diploma. And I did that in 2008, and then I kind of spent a year doing really nothing but just working, and I said, oh boy, I need to get out of here, and I knew the only way to do it was to go back to school. So I enrolled in an open studies program at the Grand Prairie Regional College, and then I found kind of my passion there through psychology, taking a couple courses, and that's kind of the route that I went. And I just finished in June. I just kind of graduated there with a BA in psychology and sociology.
Yeah. What a little great piece of information you just mentioned there. I just got a little chill when you said that. The only way to get out is by going back to school. And it's really, it's important for people out there to finish and pursue a dream of theirs, a passion, and just, starting that early process, I guess you're able to develop and find out exactly what you want to do.
That's right, yeah. It's a commitment. Obviously, it took 6 years of my life, but no one says you can't pursue your passions at the same time, and I'm trying to show that. I do a lot of things afraid, really afraid, including music, but I do it anyway. I just try, and I'm hoping that maybe someone else out there who's wanting to do something, even if they're in school or they're not, they'll either be inspired to go back to school or they'll be inspired to chase their dreams at the same time, because no one says you can't.
That's right. And you are pursuing music as well. You're in the early stages of getting an album together.
Very early stages, yes. I started recording in September. That's when I started meeting my producer. And then we recorded the first song, Destiny, which you played. And then we recorded Night the Music Died, which I released about 4 months later after that. And that one's climbing the charts right now. So I'm just kind of letting it be and letting it sit there. And then once it falls off, I'll probably introduce Redneck Reservation to the countdown as well.
And you mentioned Countdown, National Aboriginal Music Countdown. it allowed you to get more exposure out there and more people listening into your music.
That's right. Like stations like these are very important for our people. It's very hard to be an Aboriginal musician, especially an independent one where you don't have a management team and you're doing everything yourself. And people like CFWE, they give you a chance to expose people to your music and your gifts and your talent. And I really appreciate it, especially being here today.
Kristen McArthur is joining us here in the studio this morning. Redneck Reservation. It's the title of the new song. Let's hear about it. Let's get a little bit of insight of that song.
The song, what it means is, like, I grew up in the country, like really country. I am from Slave Lake, but I grew up in a place called Canyon Creek. It's just a hamlet. And really, as far as I can remember, we were probably one of the very few, if only the first Native families that were living there. And I didn't really have any friends there. I took a bus out to Slave Lake to go to school, and I didn't really make connections because every day I would leave and I'd go home and I'd kind of be isolated. And I lived in the country, and we had one station in Slave Lake, and it all played country, and that's it. So that was my first exposure to music. So I had a lot of country values, and that's where the redneck comes from. But the reservation comes from, obviously, my time spent on reservations. Mm-hmm. And having to navigate those two worlds was very difficult. One, you're in the country and you're native, so you don't really fit in. And then you're going to the reservation where you come from the country and you don't speak the language and you still don't fit in. So this song is about me walking the two worlds and trying to compare them and how they're actually kind of similar, as much as people don't think they're anything alike.
Yeah.
That's what the song is about.
Redneck Reservation on CFWE. We're going to get to that song from Kristen McArthur here in a moment. But it's going to be available on iTunes within the next few days.
That's right, yeah. I've already got it sent to the distributors. I'm just waiting for them to put it on their site, as well as Google Play and Xbox Live and other distributors like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, if anybody wants information on what you're doing and follow your music, how could they do that?
Well, I have my own Facebook page. You can kind of search me, and I have updates all the time. We're just kind of sharing things about my life. And I have a YouTube page as well. My channel is called KFM for Life 03, and you can find all updates, my music and my past songs and my music videos. And I also have a website, too, kristenmcarthur.vpweb.ca, where you can kind of check out pictures of me and see what's going on and how I'm doing on the charts and things like that.
All right. Well, Kristen McArthur, I'm going to say thank you so much for coming in this morning. Finally nice to meet you in person, and also for the donuts that you brought in as well.
There's 24 there. I think you guys could get through them.
Kristen McArthur, thank you so much for popping in today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Wally.